Niger's junta have said that they will prosecute President Mohamed Bazoum for high treason and for undermining the internal and external security of the country. This comes after Bazoum was seen by his doctor amid concerns over his health. The Nigerian military regime has also said that the people of Niger have been hit hard by the illegal, inhumane and humiliating sanctions imposed by Ecuadors, the bloc of West African nations. He said people are being deprived of medicines, food and electricity. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has visited key military factories, including a tactical missile production plant. This is the latest in the string of visits by the North Korean leader to defense facilities, where he emphasized on mass production of weapons. As reported by the state media, Kim was accompanied by officials as he looked around the military factories and the typhoon-hit areas. This was after Tropical Storm Khanun swept over the Korean peninsula last week, flooding farmlands. Meanwhile, the United States and South Korea have announced that they will stage their largest military drills ever from August 21st to 31st. This is an attempt to improve the allies' capability to respond to North Korea's evolving nuclear and missile threats. The drill, called the Ulchi Freedom Guardian Summer Exercise, will mobilize tens of thousands of troops from both sides and some member states of the UN command. They will include about 30 field training programs. North Korea has earlier denounced that the allies' military drills as a rehearsal for nuclear war. At least one person has been killed and several others wounded in an attack on a Shiite Muslim shrine in Iran's southern city of Shiraz. The injured include 2 workers at the shrine and 2 pilgrims. One person has been arrested so far. Shops in the area have been closed. As per state TV, the shrine area has been cordoned off by security forces. Videos show bloodied clothes on the ground and panicked worshippers running to find their relatives in the aftermath of the attack. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack, but state news agency IRNA said it had been carried out by terrorists. The Cambodian Prime Minister designate Hun Manet met visiting Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in the two sides pledged to promote the Cambodia-China Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Cooperation. Hun Manet said Cambodia's rapid development is inseparable from China's help and support. He said Cambodia's new government will develop the friendship with China. Wang Yi said China is willing to work with Cambodia to prepare for high-level exchanges in the next stage. Taiwan's vice president has said that the island will not be afraid or back down in the face of authoritarian threats. He also reiterated a willingness to talk to China. William Lay's statement came during the leader's US visit that Beijing has condemned. Lay is the frontrunner to be Taiwan's next president. He is on his way to Paraguay, one of the only 13 countries to maintain formal ties with the Chinese-claimed island. Taiwan and the United States both say the stopovers, including one in San Francisco, on the back are routine, but China has denounced them and called Lay a separate troublemaker. Odisha Mayor Gennady Turkhanov arrived at the scene after what Ukrainian authorities claim were two waves of overnight Russian drone and missile attacks on the port city. The attack left at least 3 people wounded. Their mayor was seen speaking to officials at the scene as firefighters battled one of the several fires, which the governor said was caused by falling rocket fragments. On Sunday night, thousands of people took to the streets of Karachi to celebrate Pakistan's independence. The celebrations included fireworks, music performances and dancing. A number of buildings were decorated with green lights, flags, bunting and balloons. A resident said the country should forget the political divisions and bitterness and celebrate this day. This comes as the nation grapples with constitutional, political and economic crises after the parliament's dissolution last week. Indonesians paraded as a part of celebrations for the country's upcoming Independence Day. A 100-meter-long flag was showcased at the parade. This was in Bogor, in the West Java province. Indonesia's Independence Day falls on August 17th. The country declared its independence from the Dutch colonial rule in 1945. The political party of Ecuador's assassinated presidential hopeful Fernando Villavicencio has picked another replacement candidate, reversing itself from its choice just a day earlier. The Build party told reporters at a press conference in the capital it would not now opt for a Christian Zurita to replace the slain 59-year-old in the August 20th vote. An ex-lawmaker and investigative journalist with a track record of exposing corruption, Villavicencio was shot dead last week after leaving a campaign event at Zurita. Is also a journalist who has previously collaborated with Villavicencio. His candidacy must still be approved by the National Electoral Council. The Indonesian coffee farmers face a tough year. Heavy rainfall has ruined half of their annual coffee yield, and now the looming threat of El Nino has brought drought worries. Coffee production in Indonesia is at its lowest in decades, which is driving global coffee prices to an all-time high. Most Indonesian coffee farms depend on rain, but excess rain causes flowers to drop, leading to lower yields, but farmers are determined to fight the odds with an irrigation plan to save their coffee trees. A plane crashed during an air show in Van Buren Township in Michigan. According to the local authorities, the occupants, the pilot, the backseater, parachuted the plane before the plane crashed into a parking lot of an apartment building. The occupants sustained minor injuries and were treated at a nearby hospital after the crash. Mount Aetna, the most active volcano in Europe, illuminated the night sky with a breathtaking display of eruptions. Following increased activity, Italy's National Civil Protection Agency issued an official statement saying Aetna has entered a pre-alert phase. This indicates a transition from level F0 to F1. This elevation in the alert level signifies a high likelihood of lava erupting. Mount Aetna is believed to have the longest documented history of eruptions, among all volcanoes, with records dating back 425 BC. In Hawaii, as the death toll from a wildfire that razed the town of Maui has increased to 96, authorities have said efforts to find and identify the dead are still in early stages. This is the deadliest natural disaster since Hawaii became a state in 1959. Officials said that they expect the death count to climb further. At least 80% of the town of Lahaina is estimated to have been destroyed. Damages worth $5.5 billion are estimated. The flames have consumed more than 1,000 buildings and leveled almost the entire town. The northern Indian state of Himachal Pradesh has been witnessing heavy rainfall over the last few days. The torrential rain has resulted in flooding and landslides in the hilly terrain, leading to the blockage of over 450 roads across the state. Meanwhile, in the early hours of Monday, officials reported a cloudburst. In the city of Solan, the cloudburst resulted in the death of at least 21 people and at least 3 were reported missing, sweeping away bridges, homes and cars. The catastrophe has unleashed questions regarding the development model in the ecologically fragile and landslide-prone areas of the hill state. Bolivia is facing weather extremes on both ends. The eastern part of the South American nation is battling with raging wildfires. In Santa Cruz, wildfires have burnt down grasslands throughout. An orange alert has been issued at the department level for forest fires. Meanwhile, western Bolivia is under a cold spell, experiencing unexpected snowfall. Bolivia's Met Department reported snow and rainfall and thunderstorms. As temperatures fell below 0 degrees Celsius for many potato farmers and vendors, snow came as a blessing in disguise. Taiwanese tech giant Foxconn reported a 1% drop in second quarter net profit as global economic woes hurted demand for smart consumer electronics. The world's largest contract electronics maker said net profit for the April to June quarter slipped to $1 billion. That's 1% down from the same period last year. However, the company beat market estimates of a much lower profit margin in the second quarter. The company also expects revenue from the consumer electronic products to slightly decline in the third quarter. The Russian ruble slid past 100 per US dollar on Monday. The Russian President Vladimir Putin's economic advisor blamed loose monetary policy for the currency's weakening. The ruble fell to 100.49 per dollar. It's the weakest point in almost 17 months. The ruble has lost about a quarter of its value against the dollar since Putin sent troops into Ukraine in February 2022. The ruble has had a turbulent course since Russia invaded Ukraine last year, slumping to a record low of 120 against the dollar in March last year. But the currency later recovered to a more than a 7-year high, supported by capital controls and surging export revenues. The airline carrier SpiceJet on Monday reported its highest quarterly profit in 4 years. That's after a sharp drop in expenses due to fewer flights that have operated. The company's profits for the first quarter that ended on June 30th came in at $24.7 million, In the same period last year, the airline posted a loss of $96 million. The airline also reported a profit of $2 million for the quarter that ended on March 31st. That's compared to a loss of $55 million in the same period in 2022. SpiceJet's better than anticipated results helped its shares rise 6% on Monday. Chinese property giant Countries Garden shares plunged to a fresh record low triggered by mounting debt problems. The company's offshore trading was suspended, casting shadows over home buyers and financial institutions. The turmoil is feared to dampen hopes of a quick recovery in China's real estate sector and the broader economy. The real estate industry has already suffered from plummeting sales and developer defaults since late 2021, with shares down over 15% and offshore bonds trading low. Experts speculate a potential debt restructuring. Countries Garden financial troubles join a series of concerns rippling through China's property markets as well.